Poor Rippy. Have that tail going. Well, good morning, everybody. It's December 9th, 10th? Hell if I know. In Florida, anyway. I'm sitting here in a t-shirt, and we've had some cold days, cold nights too. Got below freezing a few times, or at least it did here with me on the lake. So I figured I'm going to do a little bit of a fireside, I guess. Got a pretty good one going this morning. Gonna burn the rest of that wood. The old wood that was at the bottom of the pile, you know, kind of eaten up by what do you call them, the carpenter ants and everything. And I figure, yeah, you know, might as well go ahead and get all that out of the way. Come out here, have the two of us enjoy the nice morning air, and it is cool. Let me change hands here with the camera, because the sun is coming right in on my face, as you can see by now, I'm sure. But shit. Okay. So I figured, you know, what the hell to talk about anymore? It's supposed to be a season for feeling good and, you know, getting into the holidays, and it seems like everybody's pretty angry out there. And shit, running around like crazy, you know, trying to do all this shopping and shit. And yeah, I was at a leather place, a shoe store basically, that does leather repair yesterday, and you know, I keep wondering about people more and more. I needed a new zipper in my leather jacket, and you know, of course, my wife, when she was still alive, she would have done that in, you know, less than an hour. And I know the zipper's about $10, you know, for a good one. So I go over there, I call him up, you know, ask him if he does zippers. He says, yeah, oh yeah, sure, no problem. You know, so I get there, and there's this woman, yeah, probably in her 50s somewhere, and she's got a pair of ankle boots there with probably about a 2-inch, maybe a 2.5-inch heel, but a big clunky chunky one, you know, not a spiky heel. So they're you know, the guy's looking at the shoe and he's turning it, and she's like, you know, just do whatever you can, I don't care how much it costs. I paid $300 for these shoes, and holy hell, what the, you know, and they look fine. And finally she starts telling him the story, and I'm standing right behind her, you know, just waiting. And she's telling him that, well, she bought them brand new, and then she couldn't walk in them. They're too high. You know, the heel is too high, and she wanted them lowered. And he's saying, well, you know, kind of hard to do, you know, with the contour of the top. And she's going, I don't care what it costs, And I'm like, $300 for a pair of shoes that don't fit you, or you can't walk in them. And, you know, from the looks of them, I don't know, $300, I think somebody got ripped. But finally she's going on, and she left him there. And now I don't know if she knows how much this guy charges for whatever work he does, and I don't know if she didn't look like she was a working type. Of course, you can't judge anybody by their looks, you know. Don't judge a book by its cover. But I figure, you know, well, her poor husband's probably paying for this shit and doesn't even know it. So anyway, you know, she leaves out of there, and I get up there and I tell him I need a zipper put in that I called, you know. He says, oh yeah, it's, you know, 22-inch and number 10 or whatever. And he says, yeah, it'll be $120. I laughed at him. I said, I can buy a brand new jacket for that. You know, the prices, I mean, the most I've ever paid for riding leather which is a typical, classic biker style with a flip-over lapels. And I think the Brooks leathers that I used to have were probably the priciest, and they were right around $200, $225. And those lasted me forever, and I finally gave them away because basically I outgrew them. Let me get out of the sun here. Round-wise, not tall-wise. So, anyway, I took my loads left out of there, but, I went to a couple other shops, stopped by in there and everything, and my God, I mean, people are just about as rude and hateful as they can get about everything. They're pissed off about just being out there, which, of course, makes other people pissed, It's a sad state of affairs, and to tell you the truth, I don't think all this political shit that's going on is helping. This SJW crap, the gender crap, the dysphoria, by that I mean all that alphabet people crap that, nobody really seems to give a shit about, but they keep pushing the issue, so you can't ignore the bastards. And of course, you'd like to ignore them and let them live their life, do whatever the fuck you want, but don't expect me to accept it or give you any special treatment because, you're a dude wearing a dress or a chick wearing, I don't know, a suit and a tie. I don't know, fuck it, But, and then with the shit going on over here, with this impeachment thing, you can't help but watch some of it, and you're thinking, why are they wasting our time and money on this crap? This is like a non-issue, or at least I see it that way. And people are really getting involved in it way too much. So I think that anger is coming through, and and then you got stupid things like YouTube making their different rules, and now what is Twitter said that all the pedophile thing is okay on Twitter. That's not considered hate speech. It's child love or something. They're calling it something, but they're new rules. And I tell you, the people that work for these companies, Google, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all of them, I think all their employees every 3 or 4 months should need a mandatory week off and not allowed to get on the internet at all. I know it'll melt the people, they don't know how to live like that, but getting away from it, that's why I'm out here today. I'm just fed up with the internet, period. I've ordered everything that I need to order. I got another amplifier for the stereo because that one there, the cleaning job I did on it a couple months back, it lasted for a while, but now the stereo side of it went bad, so I just ordered a new one because nobody seems to repair them. And even if they did, that thing is so damn heavy, it cost me $50-$80 in shipping, just one way. So, I come out here and I just to get away from that internet crap, because it will get to you. It'll drive you crazy, and you'll think that, you got a tranny hiding behind every bush, and, or tranny or whatever, all these LGBTQI, oh crap, who can remember? It's just too much, and then with the politics, with this taking a side, whether, Democrat, Republican, they all hate each other. Now that, everybody's seeing it from a different point of view, obviously, and after a while it gets too much, when you see an obvious man. Think about it. Look at me, right? Okay. I've got a long beard, I'm obviously 6'2", 200 and something pounds, whatever. If I put on a mini skirt and ask people to call me misses or, you know, really, you know, I don't get it, man. I mean, the the whole train of thought there. If somebody is obviously a female, and now look at, you know, I guess some of these trannies on the internet, you know, they do look like a female, and if they dress like one, and you know, everything else seems right, well, you treat them like a female. But there are other that are not so obvious, like that Mr. Ma'am guy that went off in California at some convenience store, you know, because he's wearing a pink shirt. Dude's like built like a, you know, brick shit house, and it's like he wants to be called ma'am. Well, now, man, that's not how reality works, you know. And anyway, it's just some thoughts, you know, with me and my rambling at my Fireside thing, doing the camera zooming. So, yeah, I don't know. You know, my thoughts kind of go into what to do to kind of get out of that mood of constantly being pissed off and, you know, being against somebody, and then you start thinking that they're everywhere, you know, and they're not. They're shouldn't. Matter of fact, around here, I know the owner of the bar I go to. She used to own a wig shop, and she said that one guy came in there, a trans, whatever, to female, guy to female, you know, buying wigs, and she said, well, it was pretty obvious it was a guy, and, you know, that's the only one I've ever heard of around here, and I don't even think I've ever seen any people like that, you know. Now, yeah, they're lesbians and gays up here, but they're not saying anything. I mean, they're just going about their daily life, which fine by me, you know. Do your thing. I don't care. You know, as long as it doesn't affect me personally, and affect any kind of laws, or, you know, where you have to have a transgender bathroom. Come on, people. You know, this is horse shit. I don't know. You know, no amount of laws are going to make people think or accept anything different. But, yeah, I think these people at these, you know, Silicon Valley companies and shit, they need to take time off. They need to get away from it, because they're delving in too deep, and they're starting to think that these people that they're bleeding hearts for are the majority out here, and they're not. So, yeah, it's kind of a strange thing. Anyway, yeah, I gotta feed this fire. This old wood just doesn't burn real quick, so I gotta put dry wood, whoops, from the pallets. I got like 1.5 pallets left that I need to burn up. And, yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll carry on with this in a little bit, but right now, I think we're going to have a little fun here, just sitting back, drinking the rest of my coffee, watching the fire go down to pretty much nothing real quick, which is good. I want to get rid of all that wood. Alright, so maybe we'll start this up again in a little bit. Alright, let me do that, and we'll talk in a little. Aw, poor doggy. What the matter? No. Can't go any further than that. Anyway, good. Got the fire going again, and that made me think of another thing that everybody's losing their marbles about, is this climate change thing. And hey, guess what? Just last month we had climate change here. It was freezing cold, and today I'm almost sweating, ready to turn the fan on. And I'm helping by producing CO2 emissions here, which are actually good for the plants. In either case, yeah, back in the 70s, I remember we were all freaking out, and, or, well, not me, everybody I knew was freaking out because we were going into an ice age. Yeah, let me turn that camera. We were going into an ice age back then, and it was 10 years before, half of the North American continent was going to be covered in 10 feet of ice. I forget how much, but, all that. And then later on, it came up that, it's getting warmer, and what happened to the Ice Age. And then Al Gore, that pinhead, he started in with this global warming, and, when he was going on about it. Actually, according to him, I should be about 10 to 15 feet underwater here where I am right now. And, unless I've turned into a fish, I don't see it. Actually, the Gulf of Mexico isn't that far from me here. And, it hasn't run anybody out of their house yet. So there's the other thing that everybody's freaking out about. And there's no doubt about it that the climate does change over, hundreds, thousands of years, and all throughout the history of the Earth we've had climate change. We've had ice ages before. When the dinosaurs lived, that was a warm, very hot, humid cycle, and a lot of CO2 back then, most of it produced by volcanoes and things like that, forests catching fire, and so I think the CO2 was actually higher back then than it is nowadays. So, there's no doubt that part of it is man-made, but not enough to really affect the overall thing, and it all depends on where you are too. If you're out in the open land, or if you're in the city, the pollution and buildings, they hold in heat, or cold, and you're going to have a different temperature variance from different parts of the country and the world, really. So, freaking out about this shit, man. Life is just too short. It really is. And, if you're worried about your children and their children and their children, eventually we're going to all become extinct anyway. That's just a fact. The sun will eventually burn out.